Have you ever had an idea that seemed so bold, so unconventional, that when you shared it with others they laughed? Maybe they dismissed it as impossible, unrealistic, or even ridiculous. That laughter, as discouraging as it may feel at the moment, is often the first sign that you are on a path that others cannot yet understand. You see, innovation, greatness, and true success have always been laughed at before they were admired. Have you ever had an idea so different, so daring, that the first response you received was laughter? Perhaps you shared a vision with someone, and instead of encouragement, you were met with a chuckle, a smirk, or even outright disbelief. That feeling, that moment of ridicule, is something almost all great innovators, dreamers, and pioneers have experienced at some point in their lives. And yet, it is precisely at that moment, when the world laughs, that your journey toward greatness often begins. Being laughed at is not a sign of failure or weakness. It is a sign that you are stepping beyond the ordinary, that you are daring to think differently, and that you are beginning a path that others are too afraid to tread. Think about it for a moment. Most people are trained to follow the crowd, to accept the norms, to do what has already been done and proven. The world rewards safety and conformity. It praises those who do what is expected and punishes those who dare to step outside the lines. When you bring forward an idea that challenges conventional wisdom, when you propose something that others cannot immediately understand, the natural reaction is often laughter. That laughter is not random. It is a signal that your vision is bold, unconventional, and revolutionary. It is the world's way of warning you that you are on to something extraordinary, something that has the potential to disrupt the familiar and create the new. History is full of remarkable examples of people who were laughed at for their ideas. Imagine the Wright brothers. When they declared that humans would fly, people thought they were crazy. They were ridiculed, dismissed, and told it was impossible. Yet, that laughter was not an indicator of their failure. It was an indicator of their boldness. They were thinking beyond what the world accepted as normal. They were envisioning something that most people could not yet imagine. And because they persisted, because they continued to pursue their unconventional idea despite ridicule, they changed the course of history. They proved that being laughed at is often a precursor to achieving something extraordinary. The same is true in every field, not just aviation. Entrepreneurs, inventors, artists, and visionaries are all familiar with laughter as the first reaction to a groundbreaking idea. Thomas Edison, who invented the light bulb, faced countless skeptics who thought his experiments were a waste of time. People laughed at the very notion that a device could produce light without fire. Yet, Edison did not give in to ridicule. He understood that laughter was not a reflection of his abilities. It was a reflection of how far ahead his thinking was compared to the understanding of the world around him. The laughter was temporary, but his invention became permanent, illuminating the lives of millions. Being laughed at is often a measure of courage. It is easy to follow the crowd, to stay within the safety of what is familiar and acceptable. It is difficult to stand alone, to propose an idea that others do not yet understand, and to continue believing in it when you are met with mockery. That laughter is a test of your determination, your resilience, and your faith in your own vision. Those who can endure the laughter, who can continue moving forward in spite of ridicule, are the ones who achieve greatness. The laughter is like a marker on the road, signaling that you are on a path that few dare to take. It is also important to recognize that laughter often comes from fear and limitation. People laugh at what they do not understand. They ridicule what challenges their beliefs. When someone laughs at your idea, it is rarely about the idea itself. It is about their inability to see its potential. Their laughter is a reflection of their limited vision, not of your capacity to succeed. If you can learn to separate their reaction from your own self-belief, you will find that laughter becomes less of an obstacle and more of an indicator that your idea is significant, daring, and unconventional. Consider the example of Steve Jobs. When he introduced the first iPhone, many laughed at the idea of a touchscreen phone without a physical keyboard. Experts said it would never work, that people preferred buttons and familiar designs. Yet Jobs saw beyond the laughter. He envisioned a device that was intuitive, powerful, and revolutionary. He understood that being laughed at was a natural part of proposing something bold. He persisted, and the world eventually marveled not at his success alone, but at the vision that made people ask, how did he see this before anyone else? That question, how, is the transformation of laughter into admiration. and it begins the moment someone dares to think differently. Being laughed at also teaches you resilience. It forces you to examine your own commitment to your ideas. When others doubt you, when they mock you, you are given the opportunity to look inward, to assess your dedication, and to refine your vision. Laughter challenges you to strengthen your resolve. It forces you to clarify your purpose and to take actions that demonstrate your seriousness and determination. Every great achievement is built not only on innovation but on the willingness to endure skepticism, criticism, and ridicule. Laughter is simply part of the process, a reminder that the path you have chosen is not easy, and that extraordinary outcomes require extraordinary courage. Moreover, laughter can be a powerful motivator. The ridicule you face can ignite a fire within you. It can push you to work harder, to prove your critics wrong, and to turn doubt into fuel for your success. Many of the world's most successful people have used laughter as a catalyst, transforming mockery into motivation. The key is to not internalize the laughter as a reflection of your worth, but to recognize it as a sign that your idea is innovative, bold, and ahead of its time. Another aspect to consider is that being laughed at often precedes teaching. When you pursue an unconventional idea and it succeeds, you become the teacher, the example, the inspiration. The people who once laughed at your idea will eventually come to you, curious and eager to understand your process. They will ask, "How did you do it?" Or "What made you believe this was possible?" The laughter, in retrospect, becomes a form of acknowledgement. It signals that you have gone beyond the ordinary and achieved something others cannot yet comprehend. It is a transition from skepticism to curiosity, from mockery to admiration, and from doubt to recognition. Think about how many artists, writers, and thinkers were laughed at before they became celebrated. Vincent van Gogh, one of the greatest painters of all time, faced ridicule for his unconventional style. People mocked his work, dismissed his talent, and questioned his sanity. Yet Van Gogh continued to paint, to create, and to express his vision. Today, his work is revered and studied around the world. What was once laughed at is now admired. His story reminds us that laughter is often a temporary response to something extraordinary, a reaction that fades in the face of persistence and brilliance. Being laughed at also encourages humility and learning. When people challenge your ideas with laughter or doubt, it forces you to examine them carefully. Are there weaknesses to address? Can your idea be refined? While the core of your vision may be strong, the criticism allows you to grow, improve, and strengthen your approach. Laughter, in this sense, is not just an obstacle, it is a teacher. It challenges you to prove yourself, to adapt, and to refine your vision until it can withstand skepticism and doubt. Those who learn from ridicule become stronger, wiser, and more capable of turning unconventional ideas into success. Ultimately, being laughed at is a natural part of the journey for anyone daring to do something extraordinary. It is a signal that you are pushing boundaries, challenging norms, and thinking in ways that others cannot yet understand. It is a test of your courage, resilience, and commitment. And most importantly, it is an opportunity, a chance to prove that bold, unconventional ideas are not only possible, but transformative. The laughter is temporary, but the results of your courage, creativity, and persistence can last a lifetime. So, the next time someone laughs at your idea, do not be discouraged. Smile and understand that their laughter is the recognition of your audacity, the acknowledgement of your vision, and the first step on a path that could lead to extraordinary success. Keep moving forward, keep believing in yourself, and continue daring to be different. Because being laughed at is not the end, it is the beginning of something remarkable. It is the signal that your idea is bold, unconventional, and destined to leave a lasting impact on the world. Throughout history, those who dared to innovate, to dream beyond the limits of their time, and to challenge conventional thinking were often met with ridicule, skepticism, and disbelief. The world does not easily embrace change. It is comfortable with the familiar, the safe, and the predictable. When someone introduces an idea that threatens to shift the norms, the first reaction is often laughter. It is human nature to doubt what we cannot immediately understand, to mock what challenges our sense of possibility. Yet, history teaches us that the laughter aimed at innovators is never the end of the story. On the contrary, it is often the first chapter in the journey of extraordinary success. Many historical innovators, despite initial ridicule, went on to leave an indelible mark on the world, proving that perseverance in the face of skepticism is the path to greatness. Consider Galileo Galilei, the father of modern science. When he proposed that the Earth revolves around the sun, contradicting centuries of accepted belief, he was ridiculed, threatened, and even faced the Inquisition. People laughed at his discoveries and dismissed his evidence because it challenged the worldview they had long held. And yet, Galileo persisted. He pursued truth relentlessly, relying not on the approval of the masses, but on the clarity of his observations and the power of reason. Today, we do not remember the laughter, we remember his courage, his insight, and the revolutionary impact of his discoveries. His story reminds us that ridicule is not an indicator of failure, it is often a signal that one is on the path to changing the world. Thomas Edison, a name synonymous with invention, faced his share of ridicule. When he set out to create the electric light bulb, many believed it was impossible. They laughed at his countless experiments, questioning why he would persist despite repeated failures. Edison's response to failure was not anger or despair, but determination. He famously remarked that he had not failed. He had simply found thousands of ways that would not work. That resilience in the face of doubt and laughter led to one of the most significant inventions in human history. Edison's story demonstrates a timeless truth. Ridicule may accompany innovation, but it cannot deter those who are committed to seeing their vision through. Even the world of literature and art provides countless examples. J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series, was rejected by numerous publishers before a small publishing house took a chance on her manuscript. Many had dismissed her story as unremarkable, predicting it would never succeed. Imagine if she had given in to the laughter and skepticism of those early critics. The world would have been deprived of a literary phenomenon that has inspired millions and continues to shape the imaginations of young and old alike. Rowling's journey teaches us that initial ridicule is not a verdict on talent or potential, it is merely a hurdle that the determined will overcome. The business world offers similar lessons. Steve Jobs, the visionary behind Apple, was laughed at when he introduced ideas that defied industry norms. The iPhone, the iPad, and the Macintosh were all considered risky ventures by many experts and skeptics. People doubted that consumers would embrace a touchscreen phone or a personal computer that was sleek, user-friendly, and unlike anything that had come before. And yet, Jobs persisted, believing in the potential of his vision even when the world laughed. His determination transformed industries, created entirely new markets, and proved that initial ridicule is not a reflection of potential, but a vision that others cannot yet comprehend. Nikola Tesla, whose innovations in electricity and wireless communication shaped the modern world, was another figure who faced ridicule. Many contemporaries dismissed his ideas as impossible, even fanciful. His concepts of alternating current and wireless energy transmission were laughed at and criticized. But Tesla's dedication to his work never wavered. He pursued his ideas with relentless passion, despite the lack of immediate acceptance. Today, Tesla is celebrated as a genius whose work laid the foundation for much of our modern technology. The laughter he faced did not define him, his perseverance did. What do these examples teach us? They show that ridicule and doubt are natural companions to innovation. They are a signal that you are challenging the status quo and pushing the boundaries of what is known. When people laugh at your ideas, it is often because they cannot see the vision that you can see. They judge based on the familiar, while you are working toward the extraordinary. The laughter is temporary, but the impact of your innovation can last generations. Those who can endure ridicule, who persist with unwavering faith in their vision, are the ones who ultimately succeed. Ridicule also teaches resilience. Being laughed at forces innovators to refine their ideas, to anticipate challenges, and to strengthen their resolve. Each challenge becomes an opportunity to improve. Each doubt becomes fuel for determination. The path of innovation is rarely smooth. Every groundbreaking idea faces resistance at first. The key is not to avoid ridicule, but to embrace it as part of the journey, as a natural test of courage and perseverance. Every laugh, every skeptical comment, every dismissive remark is a chance to sharpen your vision and strengthen your commitment to your goals. It is also important to understand the psychology behind ridicule. People often mock what they do not understand. They fear what challenges their beliefs. When innovators are laughed at, it is rarely about the validity of their ideas. It is about the discomfort their ideas create in others. That discomfort is a powerful indicator that your idea is significant. If your work is shaking the foundations of conventional thought, causing people to question what they thought was impossible, then you are on the right path. Laughter is a natural response to disruption, and disruption is the engine of progress. Persistence in the face of ridicule also cultivates creativity. When your ideas are met with skepticism, you are compelled to think harder, to refine your approach, and to innovate in ways that you might not have otherwise. The challenge of proving doubters wrong pushes you to explore solutions, to develop strategies, and to think outside the box. This pressure, which may initially feel uncomfortable, ultimately strengthens your work and enhances its impact. Those who embrace ridicule as a catalyst for growth often produce results far greater than what initial success might have promised. Let us also remember that ridicule is often a precursor to influence. Innovators who are initially laughed at frequently become role models and sources of inspiration. The very people who doubted them begin to study their methods, admire their determination, and seek to understand their approach. The laughter transforms into respect, curiosity, and admiration. The question shifts from, "Why would you do this?" to "How did you achieve this?" The journey from ridicule to recognition is not only a measure of personal success, but also a demonstration of the power of persistence, vision, and courage. History consistently affirms this pattern. From Galileo to Edison, from Rowling to Jobs, from Tesla to countless others whose names may not be as widely known, the story is the same. Those who innovate, those who challenge the norms, those who dare to dream differently, are often laughed at first. The laughter is a mark of the boldness of their vision. The skepticism is a reflection of the novelty of their ideas. And the ultimate success, often transformative and enduring, is the reward for persisting despite the ridicule. As you consider your own ideas, your own ambitions, and your own dreams, remember this: being laughed at is not a warning to stop. It is a signal to continue. It is an indicator that your vision is powerful enough to challenge conventional thinking and significant enough to leave a lasting impact. The innovators of history did not allow ridicule to define them. They allowed it to refine them. They used it as fuel for their perseverance and as motivation to prove that what others thought impossible was indeed achievable. Ladies and gentlemen, if you find yourself in the position of being laughed at, take heart. You are walking the same path as those who changed the world. The laughter you hear is a temporary noise against the backdrop of your potential. The skeptics are merely witnesses to your journey, and their doubt is the canvas upon which you will paint your success. Keep moving forward, keep refining your ideas, keep believing in the power of your vision. Remember that many historical innovators were ridiculed before they succeeded, and their stories remind us that perseverance, courage, and unwavering belief in oneself are far more important than the fleeting opinions of others. When the world laughs, it is often because you are on the verge of doing something remarkable. Do not be discouraged by ridicule. Instead, let it motivate you. Let it strengthen your resolve. Let it remind you that you are daring to do what others are afraid to attempt. The innovators of history, the visionaries who shaped our world, faced the same laughter, the same doubt, and the same skepticism. They endured, they persisted, and they ultimately succeeded. And so will you if you have the courage to stay the course, to trust your instincts, and to believe in the extraordinary power of your ideas.